So welcome back to the How to Recover from Rock Bottom video series. This is video 3, where we're going to focus on building your strategy and creating your goals that are going to drive you towards where you want to get to. Now, obviously, video 2 was where we discussed where you want to get to and talked about how to get clear on your vision and your why, and how to get clear on your ideal day that you want to be living in the future. And video 1 was where we talked about acknowledging where you are and actually getting clear on exactly what your current situation is so that you can build an effective plan and a roadmap from there to get you to where you want to get to. Now, if you haven't done either of those steps, you've got to go back and do them first. You can't go, creating goals if we don't even know where we're really at, what our actual situation is, and if we don't know where we want to get to. So imagine a sat nav that either doesn't have a destination or it doesn't know where it is right now. The route, you can't create an effective route that's going to get you anywhere if you don't have those 2 points figured out. So go back and do video 1 and video 2. If you haven't, link is going to be in the top corner right now, one of those 2 corners. Click that and then you'll get back to this video once you completed the work. However, if you've done video 1 and video 2 and you've done the work and you've acknowledged where you are and now you're clear on where you want to get to, this is the point where we start building the clear, actionable strategy that you can then begin following that's going to drive you in that direction. Okay, so the first part of video 3 is going to be developing your 100,000 foot overview. So think of this like the stepping stones between where you are right now and your vision of where you want to get to. Think of it like the roadmap, the overall plan that encompasses everything that needs to happen to move you between those 2 points. So I think the easiest way to go through the 100,000 foot overview and how it works is to just use a live example and then walk you through it on the laptop screen so we can see together how to apply this process. So let's imagine that you did your ideal day exercise and you decided that your ideal day is to wake up in your beautiful beachfront home in Bali with your wife and your 2 kids, and you're happy and grateful because your e-commerce business in the health and wellness space has generated you just over £250,000 of clean profit last year, which is funding your lifestyle with your wife and kids in Bali. Now, the kids are going to the infamous Green School, which is famous for creating the next inspirational leaders of future generations. And they are excelling in their school, getting fantastic grades and extremely happy. So if you picture that kind of idea for a second, if that was the vision of where we want to get to, but then let's imagine that the current situation that person is in is struggling to pay the bills. They've got maybe like a 2-bedroom flat that they're not happy with in South London or something, and they're unfulfilled in their current job. And the idea of starting a business seems great, but it just seems so far away because there's so many other problems that they're dealing with at the moment. All right, so imagine that's the vision and that's the current reality. So with that in mind, let's dive into the 100,000 foot overview and I'll show you how we can start using this process to bridge the gap. All right, so I'm now in the spreadsheet, and if you don't have your copy of this spreadsheet downloaded, you should do by now, but if for some reason you don't, you'll see the link in the description to go ahead and download a copy. Remember, you can't request edit access to this master copy, so just go to File and then Make a Copy in the top left corner, and that will allow you to just download your own version to Google Drive. So once you're in the spreadsheet, go to the tab that's labeled 3A 100,000 foot overview, and you're then going to fill in the core aspects of your ideal day in the row along the top. If you need more space, just literally grab one of these sections, copy, paste it, increase the column width, etc. You get the idea. So you can adapt this as you see fit. Also, just quick side note, if you are more of, let's say, an engineer type mind, then a really cool resource you can use in Google Drive for free is called their diagrams.net resource. So just go in the top left corner, just go to new and then more and then diagrams.net, and you can create a flow chart. If I just use the flow chart template like so, you can create a flow chart which will have a similar kind of effect as the spreadsheet, but you can do more of like a if then logic flow type setup if that's how your mind works. If not, just stick with the spreadsheet, it's fine. So you're going to fill in the key aspects along the top. Now, what you're going to do is you're then going to reverse engineer from this perfect imagined space, this ideal place here, and you're going to reverse engineer all of these aspects of your ideal day backwards. Okay, so let's start with this first column here. So we're saying that we want the e-commerce business in the health and wellness space generating $250,000 in profit per year, which is going to support the life in Bali. Now, if I reverse engineer this step, let's just copy paste and get rid of that. So to earn 250 grand a year, you have to earn 100 grand a year. You have to earn 50 grand a year. You have to earn 10 grand a year. So I could obviously fill all of these in individually. I'm just going to drop it down to say 10 grand just for the sake of speeding this example up. So to say earn, so first £1,000 in sales, and then this next one here could be make first sale online, and then this one here would be build Shopify store and source products, and then this one here could be find ecom mentor on YouTube and go through videos to learn what I'm doing. All right, something like that. So then you do a similar thing for the next step. So to live in your beautiful house in the jungle in Ubud, you would have to find and put deposit down on house. There's obviously going to be other steps like visas and booking flights and so on and so forth. You don't need to get that granular at this stage. We're basically just trying to connect the dots working backwards. Okay, so to find and put a deposit down on the house, we would also probably need to sell our place in the UK, and to sell the place in the UK we would need, there we go, so get valuation on UK flat, and we'd also probably need to figure out how much deposit would we need for home in Bali. And on this valuation, you might also need to find out how much equity we will get on sale, something like that. So again, I'm just like blitzing through this just to give you an idea, but this is essentially what we're doing. We're reverse engineering and we're bringing these steps closer to where we are right now so that we can begin to see what's the next goal that we need to set and then work towards achieving in order to progress on this roadmap towards our ideal day. So looking at this, we'd obviously do the same thing for the Green School, and you might want to go into more detail and include more steps, break it down so it's more granular. But what we're looking for is places within this 100,000 foot overview where we could either improve the result or get the result faster, or ways that we could find a different route to achieve a similar result. So I'll give you an example based on what we're looking at here. Now, if I zoom in a bit, here we are. So what we're essentially saying in our ideal day is that in order to move to Bali, we need to build the e-com business first and have that sustain us, right? But is that entirely true? And the answer is no. And the reason it's no is because to move to Bali, nowhere in these steps does it say we need to build an e-commerce business first. All it says is that we need to find and put a deposit down on the house, and we might have calculated what that deposit is at this stage. So let's say it's like, I don't know, 15k or something like that. Places in Bali are actually not that expensive. I looked, and that's another thing, by the way. If you don't know, just go Google it and just go look, and it's going to give you something more concrete to start building your vision off of and your goals. But let's say you need to find 15k. Well, if you had, let's say, 30k or 25k equity, right, after doing this step, well, do you actually need this business? And you said, well, yeah, of course I need an income, like my job's in the UK. But then you said, well, what if your job was remote? Or what if you had a different job that was remote working? Or what if there was another way that you could receive an income, maybe doing freelance gigs or consulting gigs for your current skill set? So the point is that you can look at this 100,000 foot overview and you can say, well, I don't need the ecom business to move to Bali. I'm telling myself that that's the solution, but there's multiple different solutions. And this 100,000 foot overview has just highlighted that. What we need is 15K and to sell our house, right? Now then we can say, well, okay, we got the 15K, we sold the house. What else do we need? We still need an income. Well, how else could I get that income while being overseas? Could I speak to my boss and negotiate remote work? I mean, if you manage to do that, you've solved it in one conversation. Congratulations, go to Bali, enjoy most of your ideal day, and then build the ecom business while you're out there. Because let's be honest, you're probably going to be saving a bunch on overheads, which is going to free up more cash each month to, maybe repay debts that you've got or whatever. It's just going to enable you to start living most of your ideal day and probably solve most of your problems just from what is essentially a conversation with your boss. And the whole time you've been telling yourself you can't do it until you've got a business doing $250,000 a year. It's not true. And this 100,000 foot overview will highlight these inflection points or these, let's say, high impact areas where you can find different solutions than you think you currently need, which will give you the result that you want. Right? I'll just say that one more time because it's so important. If you can find these high impact points, right, where you can find different solutions than the ones you think you need to create the result you want, it means you can often create the result you want, live your ideal day so much easier than you think that you can, or than you think of what it's going to take. I butchered the wording, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. This is a really powerful exercise to go through and find these areas. And with that in mind, I'm now going to share, I'll slide back across, I'm now going to share the next stage, which is another exercise you can do to find solutions at these high impact points in your 100,000 foot overview. And this exercise, I've used it, I'd say probably dozens of times over the last 7 years. And I use it whenever I have a challenge that I need to overcome. It's called the 10 things exercise. And what you do is you isolate the problem you're trying to solve. So in that previous example, you would say, I need to find a way to earn an income while I'm out in Bali, right? Why? Because you've got your 15K, you've sold your house. The only problem you now need to solve is you just got to get an income. And if you can earn an income while you're out there, well, great. Then there's no longer anything holding you back from getting you out there. So you would use the 10 things exercise on that one isolated problem, right? How can I earn an income while I'm in Bali that's going to pay my bills? And then you write down at least 10 ways, 10 ideas, 10 potential solutions that will solve this problem. So number one would probably be go speak to your boss and try and negotiate remote work. Number two could be find another job in the same sector, in the same role, same industry that allows remote work. Number three, mentioned already, could be like freelancing or consulting or offering your services on an individual basis instead of working for a company and providing what you do through your company. Number four could be find another company that has satellite offices in Indonesia and allows remote work in Bali for your same field. Number five could be, I don't know, like this is obviously your exercise to go through, but the idea is that as you go through and you keep coming up with new ideas, new solutions, potential solutions to your problems, you're going to begin to realize that there's many, many, many different ways you can achieve your goals. Now, something that's really important when you do this exercise is to do at least 10 things, because the first 4 or 5 are generally going to be the pretty obvious solutions to the problems. When you get from like 5 to 9, those are going to generally need you to be a bit more creative and think outside the box. And anything where you get to 10 or above, that's typically where the genius solutions live. The stuff that wouldn't normally come to you, and you've got to sit down on this for a while and really put some energy and thought into finding at least 10 answers. And that's when you'll often have that aha brainwave moment, like, I can't believe this is even an option. I never thought of this before, but it's perfect, right? You do this exercise, you force yourself to come out with 10 solutions to this isolated problem. And as I say, when you get to like 10 and above, that's typically where the brainwave aha moments will live. When you've done that and you've got your 100,000 foot overview. It's now time to go on to the next step, which is where we're setting concrete goals to go out and work on every single week, every single day that are going to move you in that direction. So let's dive back into the spreadsheet and we'll go to the next step, which is the goal setting. Okay, here we go. So there's a number of different goal setting philosophies and strategies and methodologies out there. Everything from like the BHAG 10x stuff. So BHAG is big, hairy, audacious goal. 10x would be like the Grant Cardone philosophy of like, oh, just go out and, every goal that you have, just 10x it and make it as big as possible. And there's everything in between. And then there's the one that I'm going to recommend using here, and it's probably the one that you've heard of before, if you've heard of any, and that is the SMART goal setting methodology. Now, SMART goal setting has often been adopted by corporate, and I would say it is one of the more realistic and reserved methodologies for goal setting. But the reason that I think this is the one to use for a rock bottom situation is because when you're at rock bottom, you're typically not able to even comprehend going after some, monstrous BHAG goal that seems so far out of reach, because all we really need right now is we need to feel we're getting some momentum. We need to feel we're making some progress. We're not really in the strongest state of mind that we could possibly be in while we're struggling with everything we're struggling with at the moment. And the last thing that you need is to set goals that just seem so impossible that you don't even try to achieve them. We need to be setting more realistic goals like the SMART methodology, and I'll explain what that means, by the way, in a sec, but more realistic goals that feel more achievable, that are more achievable, that you then do achieve, is going to start to help you build momentum and make progress and feel inspired again and feel happy again, and really begin that journey towards being able to set the big goals and then start smashing it again and getting that momentum going. So SMART goal setting stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And I've designed the spreadsheet that we're looking at on the screen here to fit the SMART methodology. And all you're going to do is you're going to take stepping stones from your 100,000 foot overview that you did in the previous sub-step, and you're going to start to apply these to the goals spreadsheet. Okay, so I put a different example in here, but let's just use like the barley example. So let's say that you were going to put a goal of sell your place in the UK. So let's just put that, delete that, delete that, delete that. Okay, so you might say like social and lifestyle. So sell house in the UK, raising 25,000 in equity. Okay, so is this measurable? Yes, because you either sell the house or you don't. That's how you measure it. Have you sold the house, right? And you can break that down as well into individual steps. So like list property with estate agent, and then you might say like viewings, so maybe like 10 viewings, whatever. So you can break this into like sub steps as well, and get more specific. Is it attainable? Yes, you can absolutely sell your house. Like that is a possibility. It's not impossible. Is it relevant? Yes, it's 100% relevant because it's directly on your stepping stone journey towards achieving your ideal day, your vision of the future. You need to sell your place in the UK if you're going to get to your place in Bali. Okay, so is it relevant? Yes. And then time bound, right? So you could say, I want to sell my place by the 31st of January, right? Or you might break it down and say, I want an offer on the place by the 30th of November, and then I want completion and move out by the 31st of January, whatever. So that would be an example of a goal that fits the SMART methodology. It is specific, it is measurable, it is attainable, it is relevant, and it is time bound. And if you can apply this to every single one of your next goals, things that you need to achieve on your stepping stones, this is going to be what you will work off of every single week. And each week you will look at, what did I do this week? How much energy did I put in towards achieving my goals that are on this list? If we weren't able to make progress, why not? What stopped us? What do we need to change next week? And then as you begin ticking off these goals, you will of course replace them with the next goals, the next stepping stone, the next stage of the journey. Okay, so this is why I think the SMART methodology is perfect for what we're doing here, recovering from rock bottom. And also as well, again, just to reiterate, we are really focusing on trying to get those smaller wins under our belt, right? We want to be building that momentum. So let's take the example of you wanted to negotiate remote work with your boss. Now, if your boss says no, does that mean that we can no longer go to Bali, we have to jack it all in and give up? No, of course not, because we did the 10 things exercise. We've got another 9 backup options that we can go ahead and try. But you could also still look at negotiating a better work situation with your boss, because let's say that when you did the free time exercise in part 1E, I think it was, but you worked out you've only got 10 hours free per week. Well, you could still negotiate with your boss to maybe reduce your working hours or work from home 3 days a week so that you're not commuting for an hour and a half a day for 3 days. And that then frees up another 4.5 hours per week. So if you're always, when you're setting these goals, if you can always remember to try and go for the small wins as well, the incremental improvements, those small increases that will improve your current situation. And if you've done the work in step 1, you'll know what these increases are and you'll know how much of an impact they have. This free time example is a perfect example. You can just tweak like a few hours here, a few hours there, or cash flow. If you can improve your cash flow by just a couple of £100 a month or something, just to give you a bit more breathing space, all of these little small changes are going to make a big difference when you start stacking them up. And if you do this work, you're going to see the difference as well. You're going to see it actually happening, and that's going to motivate you to keep pushing forward and keep working on it. Okay, so that's stage 3. You now hopefully have a bit of a strategy, you have a plan, you have goals, you have a structure, you have a destination that you're working for. And it's from this that we're going to go into the final video, stage 4, where we build our habits and our daily method of operation that we need in order to execute on this plan every single day. All right, so thanks very much for watching. I hope that's been useful, and I will see you in the next video in about 24 hours. Bye for now.